You already know who this is, man. It's your boy, you in the building, the voice of this shit. This your style podcast. You already know you can find us on every platform. Anywhere you go, we there. So look your boy up. You already know. Like, subscribe, fuck with the video. Today I got a special guest in the building. Somebody I grew up with. Somebody I knew for a long time. So, you know, we got a lot of chapters together. You know what I'm saying? But further ado, let's let him introduce himself, man.
What's going on, Boston? It's your boy. Some of y'all know me as B Fussell, or used to know me as B Fussell, but for the last decade or more, my name is Ahmed Sadiq Muhammad, known as Ak Hussein from THRU Marketing, and I'm here. This is your podcast. This is your start podcast.
Yeah, in the building.
And we doing our thing.
And this is where you come, you know, when you want to let loose today, it's just letting it loose. But let's get into it, man. How you been, man?
Man, I'm good, man. Thank you for having me. What's good with you?
You already know, same old shit, man. Trying to survive and get through it, and you know what I'm saying? Build this platform for real niggas.
I see you.
You know what I'm saying?
I see you.
Trying to get it to where real niggas have a platform to come and speak and, you know, have dialogue.
It's definitely a platform. Shout out to the whole movement, like your brand. Like, what really sparked me about what you're doing is you had a recent artist over here that I have a really close relationship with. And we talked off air about who he is, and shout out to him and his movement. Go figure, but you know that's my brother. You know I was there when he took his shahada, and I'm really close to a lot of brothers, such as you. Shout out to my man Spank. You know he's legendary. I have a close relationship with certain dudes, and it's outside what a lot of people would think, and it's really based on my deen as an older individual. Like, I ain't got shit to gain out of it, what I believe in, and what you learn to believe in, which is your rightful identity, which is Islam. You heard?
You already know that.
Which is what I'm about as we stand here today at 45. Shade to me.
We're gonna get into that. So let's get into, like, you know, where you was raised, where you come from, where you was born. You know what I'm saying? Let's get into that. Like,
Absolutely.
upbringing. Like,
proudly.
What area you from?
Proudly. I'm from the area of Boston that's called. Well, I'm from an area of Boston that is publicly known as Grove Hall, and I say publicly because Massachusetts, you know, has a lot of history behind it, and Grove Hall is one of the most historic inner city black neighborhoods of Boston. It's actually the Mecca.
Definitely.
And when you say where are you from, I don't really identify with being from Grove Hall. I actually identify with being from Little Ethiopia. And if don't anybody know what that means, I was taught that as a young man. I used to go to the elementary school, matter of fact, the preschool that was in Grove Hall at the time back in the 80s, next to M&M's. It was a preschool before it was a Stop and Shop, which you have here today. It was a preschool right next to it.
Like a lot of niggas don't even know that Stop and Shop there, though.
In the original Clinton Market was next to that, and I used to get sandwiches out of there. Shout out to Little Ethiopia. But when you say tell people let people know where you're from, I don't identify with Grove Hall or anything else that I may have picked up along the line of me growing up, you know what I mean, such as the Casagate shit that's embedded in Grove Hall, as well as, you know, the surrounding streets, you know what I mean, but throughout my years, I used to hang on the street corner of Seaver and Blue.
That was the spot.
Yeah, definitely the bus stop.
That was the spot. Born Boys, all that. You know what I'm saying?
Seaver and Blue. Shout out Steven.
Yeah, that shit was always the spot, nigga. You know what I'm saying?
So I never came out the house hanging on Cassidy or hanging in particularly Brook Hall. I grew up hanging in a small hallway of 304 Seaver and Blue. Me and a couple of dudes. And I'm gonna keep it all the way. You asked me where I'm from.
Right.
I'm originally from Sonoma Street.
Remember Sonoma?
I'm from 24 Sonoma Street.
Sonoma was popping.
I grew up on Murderers Road. That's what it was originally called. It was called a Murderers Road. And it was where the Detroit boys, anybody who's watching this, know what I'm talking about. It was where the Detroit boys first introduced Boston to capsules before the New York boys.
I remember that.
Yeah. I'm giving you history. So when you say where am I from, I'm from Little Ethiopia, and I ended up spending my juvenile days creating my own identity with a few other fellas on the corner of Seaver and Blue 304, and we ended up becoming known as the Magics, the GH Magics, which is a metaphor for Grove Hall Magics.
And how did like that formulate? How you get from Sonoma to, and for the people that's watching that don't know, maybe you ain't from Boston, Sonoma is, if you look it up, it's like around the corner, so it come down and then Seaver's right there. Don't Sonoma run into Seaver?
No, so Sonoma is off of Elm Hill and
runs down to Maple, right,
and then Maple runs into Mason,
right. And running to Seaver
and Wayne, which is how my journey started.
Right.
So I grew up on 20 at 24.
And I do think I remember a lot of not to cut you off, but a lot of like gate members being just from that area.
Well, I'm gonna tell you how that happened. That didn't happen by chance. That happened by geographical circumstances and relationships, as well as other governmental assistance.
Right.
But yeah, eventually that's how Sonoma ended up being. It ended up being a street where my generation of people from Castigate or from the GH Magics ended up living. Long story short, I ended up on Seaver and Blue by way of the people not wanting to be as exciting as I thought they should be on Sonoma. You know?
Right.
Like you know, my group of friends that were my age at the time.
Right.
I didn't relatively think that they were exciting, and I had my own idea of what excitement was, and that led me to, you know, experiencing and venturing off in the neighborhood, and I found my way. I found my way down the hill. I want to see what these niggas down here doing.
Right. I think we all end up venturing off.
These niggas where I'm really out the house at ain't really getting nothing shaking.
Right.
I'm
so I gotta go with the action.
Yeah, I'm buying ices and shit at the time, and that ain't fun to me. You know what I mean? Cause
I also told niggas like back in the 90s, we looked for that shit. Like we wanted to be with the action. Yeah, shit was cracking.
That was what fueled us.
Yeah, real shit.
We were fueled by that. So like I said, me and a few of my friends, how I got to Seaver and Blue was, and I'm gonna speed this up, man, because it's all about content.
No. You ain't gonna speed it up.
I was in Grove Hall one day, actually. My mom's, shout out my mom's, R.I.P.
R.I.P. man, blessings, man.
My mom was a different type of mom. She was a reality mom. I think she was reality TV before niggas had cable, right? Like, she'll put you in the front line of some bullshit and show you what it is you're supposed to understand about this shit. But long story short, I used to be able to go to the store by myself at a very young age. And during one of my journeys, I met an individual who who's still a friend and near and dear to me to this day. His name is Booby.
Shout out Booby, yo.
Yeah. Regardless, that's my friend. And,
Booby on?
Yeah, definitely. I'm not sure, to be honest. We talk, but you know, my bro, if the people know who he is, they know that he has an acronym as Ghost. At the end of the day, he could be home, he might not be home, but at the end of the day, long story short, I met a brother by the name of Booby.
And this is when you was younger, like
I was like 12. I was like 11, 12. And as I said,
shout out to that nigga's brother too.
Chanel.
Shout out now, man.
Absolutely.
Me and Nell had good run-ins.
And I'm gonna break this down to how important those two dudes are in my life. And a lot of people don't know this. Like, you may know B. Fussell, you may know Ak Hussein, you may know Ahmed Sadiq Muhammad, but those two brothers that I met in Grove Hall that day, actually I met Chanel first. Chanel's my best friend. Booby's little brother is my best friend. That being said, me and Chanel developed a relationship where I used to hang with him every day after I would get out of school. And I didn't go to school, your typical school. You know what I mean? I went to a special ed school, I went to a DSS enrolled school for other personal reasons, you know, that obviously, you know, has translated to other shit in life, you know. Got PTSD, you heard? Nigga been shell shocked since I was 12. No bullshit though, but long story short,
I've been fucked up.
I met them by going to the store. I met Chanel, and he introduced me. He brought me to his crib one day. He used to bring me to his crib, and during the time he used to bring me to his crib, his older brother was one of those niggas. Like, you know, that's shout out my man Boogie. You know, like AKA Stress.
One of them niggas.
Boo Gambino. You know.
Boo was one of them niggas.
He was one of them niggas. He was doing different things, but what most importantly he was doing, he was embracing me as one of his peoples. He realized early that my situation was fucked up, and obviously I wouldn't be hanging out in Grove Hall or going to the store at 12 years old at all types of times in the morning if my situation was straight. But he embraced me on the strength that his brother, it wasn't even nothing different. I wasn't on shit.
No, but I'm saying, like, what I'm trying to say is, in the 90s, me being like one of them same kids, I feel like certain niggas see it in you before you see it.
You know what? I can agree with that, because throughout our life, he's always told me I was better than the way I think.
That's what I'm telling you.
Nah, you 100 with that.
Because there was a lot of niggas, like, even in the hood, man, it was like,
yeah, and it's crazy because we shared a cell recently as a few years ago, and that's nobody's business, but that was one of the conversations we had.
Wow.
Is how much he influenced me. And I, you know, and I can get into my story because it's like, you know, it's there, like I said, they play an integral part about how I developed in these streets. You know what I mean?
Do you think, and not to go off the subject, but I gotta ask you, do you think it's prevalent to like tell the niggas that influence you, they influence you?
Fuck yeah. You gotta give niggas their flowers. Because before you was running around with whatever type of game you thought you had, or whoever you thought you are, you had to identify with a certain era of motherfuckers that paved the way. And what I mean by that is that, you know, you can't just come out the house where I'm from and not have an umbilical cord to an older nigga. See, niggas talk nowadays about not big bro and big homie and all this shit, but there's really levels to this shit. There's really niggas that you don't see from your hood or from different areas that have final say about a lot of shit that goes on. So hell yeah, you gotta give those niggas their flowers. Without those individuals, you wouldn't have nothing to come out the house to identify them.
I mean, I think me being a 90s kid, and I always say that when I came home, I mean, not even came home, like just growing up, coming out the house, I looked up to the drug dealers, so I look at the influence they had on my life, and a lot of niggas, I always told niggas that when I was younger, niggas used to be like, yo, it's wild. I used to be like, they're all mad niggas wrapped into one. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Like, just my style is mad niggas wrapped into one. Like, you can talk to me and see a bunch of niggas.
It would be, because historically, Boston is set up, well, at least in the black community, is set up where we're tight-knit. We hear it in rap songs all day how we don't have a lot of things to emulate, coming out the house. Like, we don't have your average doctor, or you don't have your lawyer, or you don't have your social worker, or you don't have, even though this is a blue-collar city that's historically built off of the back of the working people, in Dorchester, Roxbury, Mattapan, South End, maybe not South End because it's a little bit more diverse. You don't have the average neighbor coming outside, going to work in those professions that you hear that are going to lead you to an American dream, or providing a different outlook for you and your circumstances. You didn't have that. You had dudes who were adapting to the environment and utilizing tools of the environment to maintain. So
I think
coming out the house, that's what I was adapted to.
Right, but that's why I don't and I want people to take this in the right context. When I say I don't want people to take it out of context, like what I'm saying.
That's not gonna happen.
But
you know how people take content. Right?
Word. But
this is social media era.
Word, but
we talking about people that lived it. You're one of the people that lived it.
Word. That's why I always say, like with me, I never felt sorry for the life I lived, and I never felt sorry for the people that lived my life. Because
you told me that when I first met you, and I never knew that. About it, and you was younger than me. Right. What the fuck are you talking about?
Because we all sign into this shit, right. And when you sign in, it's like
that's why I always said you different.
You know what I'm saying? It's like a different. Like, right. That's why I always told niggas like
you different. Whatever come with it,
you different. No bullshit. Whatever come with it, we gotta eat it, and that's what I tell niggas. Like, we can't feel sorry for who we are. We gotta grow into who we really are. Like, a lot of shit we lived in the 90s, I tell niggas, dawg, that shit was like called for. That was just the time. The time was rugged, hard. It was streets, like, it was where the action was. Yo, niggas was trying to pop. Like, I was just saying that to, shout out to my nigga Spank. I was saying that the other day, like, in the 90s, you didn't have one or two niggas that was that nigga. In the 90s, it was 13 niggas that was that nigga. It was 13 niggas that was ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we didn't have that time of like, right now, yo, it's only two niggas you know. Fuck no. Nigga, back in the 90s, it was a block.
Well, it was a different era.
You could pull up on any block, and that's what I tell niggas.
You were held to more higher standards back then and held to different accountabilities back then.
Right, but I tell niggas like, yo, in the 90s, any block you pulled up will get it shaken. Any block. It was no block. That's what I tell niggas. Niggas be like, yo, these niggas, no, nigga. Boston will suck you dry, nigga. You will get lost in these streets, and the only thing left for you is a casket. I be telling niggas that shit.
Do you see Mass F today? It's a speaking example of how Boston attracts demons, savages, a way of life.
But it's just
hasn't been talked about.
It's what we give it, but at the same time, that's why I fuck with niggas like us that like rise and speak about our situations to be able to have this one-on-one with you. Yeah. Niggas don't realize it now, but one day y'all gonna look at this shit's gonna be like the pinnacle of this shit. And I'll tell niggas, because this shit It's what you can't buy.
Nah,
You can't buy this shit. You know what I'm saying? So this is the only way you get these thoughts.
This is a platform.
And before, I really wouldn't have fuck with nothing like that because niggas know how I am. Like, y'all like to get to the bread. Y'all show love to everybody. I fuck with everybody. We a team fucking organization. This just our pod. Shout out to Johnny. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, it's like, yo, this shit is like what it is.
Excuse me, I'm just on social media. I'm listening to you.
You know what I'm saying? This shit is like what it is, and it's like, yo, as we grow, we have to grow and function different. You know what I'm saying? I tell niggas like, yo, if there was a, what's that shit called? The Me Too shit? Oh, everybody be locked up from the 90s, my nigga.
Nigga, everybody was locked up.
Like, nigga, no, I'm just saying on like the way he was fucking with bitches,
from the 90s.
the way everything, like,
Spank was locked up. How Oprah said, everybody was locked up from the 90s.
So what I was telling niggas, like, I didn't want to do this shit. So what made me want to do was like, this is a true story, not to take away from what we doing, but this is, it all go, yo,
it's all about.
I was riding, I think, to like fucking Connecticut or something. It was said it was a long drive, but I ended up taking it with my grandmother. And the information she gave me that night would have held me for years. Like, I always think if I didn't have that conversation, she ended up dying a couple months later, and I always think like, even though I got that, I always said, you were supposed to, that's what you were supposed to be doing. Getting that information.
How about this?
So this is the only way these young niggas get it from us. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I was saying. Like when I said, you know, back in my generation, you had to have the umbilical cord. Like we had time. How about this? It wasn't about time. We was taught the respect, the OG. Because before he was that crackhead dancing on the corner or playing games or beating you for a couple of bumps or whatever he was doing, he was somebody in the store. That's why you're dealing with him in my lifestyle, you heard? And what I mean by the umbilical cord is that today, no disrespect to anybody who's young, because at the end of the day, it's about accountability, right? We talked about this off camera. That's on us.
Definitely.
Their inability to relate to how to sit down and make sure their umbilical cord is intact to the right foundation is on us.
But that's why
all we're doing.
That's why we doing this shit that we doing now, though.
Hold on 1 second. All we really are doing, and a lot of us have been doing, is protecting our own tribe, meaning our kids. Learning how to get ourselves together. We're just now getting to the spot where we're holding ourselves accountable for how this younger generation is manifesting their emotional trauma or their inability to be emotionally connected to certain situations.
But what do you think we do what we doing now? Because this is what's showing that, though, you can have dialogue. And this is what I tell every nigga, like, yo, no matter who you see you got a situation with, yo, you can have dialogue as a man. And as a man, what I tell people is, you and a person don't have to see the same thing when you walk away. Y'all can see two different things and just, all right, bro, you keep it, I'm gonna keep it pushing. Like I tell niggas that I'd rather a nigga tell me he don't fuck with me than to be around me and fuck with me. You know
because
what I'm saying?
That's fake.
Because I'd rather a nigga, nah, bro, you cool, but I don't care that, and I can respect that. And feel no way about this man because this man was up front with me as a man. And I tell niggas as men, we have to learn how to kick it with each other. And not all the time coming into a situation, it's gonna be what you wanna hear.
It's not.
As a man, you should never think that.
I particularly, you know, off subject. I went away to this holiday weekend. I shot up to Vermont.
And I seen the pictures and shit. Niggas looked real family and cozy up there.
That's what we make it for.
Bro, you looked cozy.
But during that trip, I did some niggerish shit. I let my inner emotions get the best of me and reacted to a friend that has nothing to do with nothing other than showing me a good time and providing a different atmosphere for me, because it was on his dime. It was it, him and his people's situation. Like they rented whatever they did, they dropped the bag on it, whatever they did, and they invited me and my family through the strength of that. They called my BM, but I got up there and act like a nigga because I'm still traumatized, and when I hear certain shit, I respond in the most traumatic way. And the reason I'm bringing this up is that my friend held me accountable, you heard?
As he should.
That's what you just was talking about, right?
Yeah.
I said some shit to him, he said some shit to me, but at the end of the day, he had me walk away, like you said, how you can't walk away respecting what a man says or how a man feels, or why can't a man approach you with how he feels, or why is that climate the way it is. Well, this man, who I only knew for a couple of weeks, couple of months, held me accountable and shook me up, like, nigga, don't think your shit's sweet too, nigga, like. And I had to stand down. It wasn't about going to get the blick. It wasn't about, yo, let me go get the knife, nigga, I'm about to cut this nigga. I had to sit there as a man because my family was there, enjoying themselves, and eat that shit.
That's what the fuck men do. But I tell niggas, that's what, yo.
Shout out my nigga Dre.
The wild shit niggas go through is like, yo, I always tell niggas to build character. And in certain times you have to see the way we put our trauma on other people, which is not good. And at the end of the day, it sits down, and I was just telling somebody that's why it's crazy you brought it up. It's like, motherfuckers got to individually learn and deal with their trauma, because your trauma is not someone else's trauma.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And sometimes when we push the trauma, it ends fucked up for everybody.
So what happens,
you know what I'm saying? Like, you have to...
I'm glad you tapped on that, because I've been in and out of jail all my life. You heard? I've been home by the grace of God. I've been home since December 19th of 2019. Yeah, 2019. Damn, I've been home that long. I ain't never been home that long, but I had to learn that you have to step outside certain things in order to.
But you have to, for you to grow and to stay out, you have to heal and communicate. And at times, you have to be able to understand yourself. See, a lot of times, you got to bring that darkness into the light. So you have to heal yourself from these things. Because, you know, and it's crazy you said that, you know, since me and you've been in jail, I've never been back. I've been home 15 years.
I know.
Straight. Like, real shit. Because, you know why?
5 times since that.
Bro, because I always believed in, like, nobody give a fuck what I'm going through. And when we go through it, it's like, yo, it's up to us to be able to deal with it. At times, I had to look at myself and say, damn, this is the problem. Bro, you got to straighten up. This is having you fucked up. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes I tell people, like, it have nothing to do with other people. Sometimes it's a self thing. You know what I'm saying? Because I always tell people, right, like, yo, it's the same way if you dealing with your girl, whoever. If you can look at your girl and say, yo, I don't like the way she's operating and she's moving, then you don't like the way yourself is operating and moving. Because everything is a reflection of you. So when shit's off, you're off. So instead of...
You're the reason it's off.
But that's what I'm saying. So when people look at people and be like, yo, I need you to change, it's not I need you to change, I need me to change. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the difference.
Accountability.
Because when you take the accountability, it takes everything else off the table.
So what a lot of us don't do, and I'm glad you just hit that. Like, you're right. A lot of, you know, we sit in these cells, right? We go to jail for keeping it 100 in these streets. You know, we turn up, we make a name for ourselves. We live what we live. We sign up for what we sign up for. But what we don't do is 9 times out of 10 when we're in themselves, because it's so hard and you're already emotionally scarred, you're already dealing with post-traumatic stress from being a victim of your own self-destruction. We don't do self-work.
But see, that is the crazy thing about when I was bad. That was the most shit I did was like myself.
I can agree with you.
I was really on my own ass. Like,
once again,
no bullshit.
I said just a few minutes ago, right? I said you are different. So when I met you, you were already ahead of that. But
tell you all the embarrassing shit about me.
Let me explain.
Like we laugh and talk shit about all the shit that happened to me. I don't give a fuck.
The difference isn't that a lot of us can't be an open book. It takes time. It takes time. It took time for me to get here.
Sure did.
And kick it with the city and kick it with myself.
Even when you called me, I said that. I said, damn, bro, really. Because it's like, once you want to do it, then it's like, I'm at peace with self, regardless of what. No matter what, I'm at peace with it. I know that's how you work. Like,
I wouldn't give a fuck what nobody think. You gonna form your opinion, you gonna talk your shit, you gonna feel how you feel, but that has nothing to do with me loving and being dependable and reliable for the people that was there for me when I couldn't be there for myself, such as my family now today.
And you know what a lot of shit I told myself was that a lot of shit people say about me back then, that was me.
You ain't lying.
But that is not me today. That shit then when niggas be like, yo, that nigga used to do all type of dumb shit. That was me to do stupid shit.
I wouldn't give a fuck what nobody.
You know what I'm saying? Real shit.
Because you can never change the first impression. Because you know we live off that era. Your first impression is your last impression.
True.
And a lot of us had grand first impressions.
Wow.
You heard? Hold on. Get some smoke.
Even when like me and you met, it was
like we in jail already.
We
were in jail already when we met. We were in jail. You were in the process, and I'm gonna set it correctly. Like you was already getting money. I don't give a fuck what nobody say or who know you, and I ain't trying to shed light or knock anything you're doing in right now, but this is all past things that you've been accountable for in the Commonwealth.
Already been locked up for everything.
Yeah,
so you can talk about whatever.
Like you were getting money, and how I met you was, you know, my closeness to the streets. You asked me where I'm from, and that whole GH Magic Castigate shit led me to living a lifestyle of dealing with different dudes in a certain network. And that network was called Scat G. So
what was Scat G? What was that? For a lot of people.
So I'm gonna give you 2 versions of Scat G. Cause I'm only 45 and I don't want these old ass niggas later on to be like, oh, this fucking nigga. So I'm gonna give you 2 versions.
Because it was always 2 versions. But I'm gonna see if you got the same 2 versions I got. Alright, it was always 2 versions.
So the first version is and let me slow the fuck down and get this right, because we on some national shit. And we're giving historical facts.
Talk shit when niggas
so
this up.
Let y'all know I'm fucking fly on the wall and I have my historical facts in order.
So shout out to everybody that was fucking with the Sky G.
You know that. Let me see this. Oh, I got all that. So there's 2 versions of Sky G. I'm of course 45 and I'm from GH Magic, which is a subsection. That's how we playing it, which is a subsection of Grove Hall by way of Cassidy. You heard? My subsection, we we're in the business of creating our own identity so much that even me and a brother spoke off camera where we used to create a lot of situations. We're even involved in one historic situation that changed the dynamic of this city. And we'll get into that later. But long story short,
you saying like far as Castlegate?
Nah, Magics.
Oh,
because before it was Castlegate for me.
It was the Magics.
Before it was the Magics for me. We going back to the beginning. It was 304 Silver and Blue. And then I was accepted as a Magic. But
and who were some of the niggas from the Magic? Just actually like niggas in random.
In content where I was respect and you know I don't know where certain dudes are at in their life, I can give you nicknames. You know, it's only right because I don't know if any of my brothers or any of my friends, and I call them my friends today, and I told you this off camera because ain't none of my friends ever let me down, even in jail, fucked up situations, because I ain't never had expectations of my friends. That wasn't their responsibilities, whatever my expectation was.
I think that's the point of a friend.
Yeah.
As a motherfucker, you don't have expectations.
Yeah, you can't.
So he can never let you down.
Yeah, you can't expect your man to jump out the fucking roof and you ain't gonna jump out the fucking roof for him. Let's just be realistic. But and nickname wise, some of the people, my man Booby and Bino. Some people know him as Stretch. My man Chuckster, my man Pork, and I say that with respect. I say that with respect to Pork Shot.
Gotta get you up here next, nigga.
You know that I say that with respect to Pork Shot because I'm gonna keep it established. You know, Pork was like his own movement.
Always.
When we was kids, like dogs. Like,
so that angry ass nigga was when we was sellies
and like that's
always just like no bullshit. You know what I always tell niggas?
Like I told you off camera, like you know, due to certain circumstances in life, we all move on in life, and certain things are error and chapter. But Pork's one of the brothers that I still stay in touch with and respect, and I love, and I trust to always give me real time data to how anything that I'm involved in that might affect what he may still believe in and what he still stands for in the streets. And that's what I stand up, nigga.
Shout out Pork Shot. He always gonna keep it 100 on whatever it is, you know.
We had a beautiful conversation recently during a real trying time.
But he always like been a stand up nigga. Nigga always looked out for me, never did no shit. Even though he probably didn't agree with some shit I was doing, it was never like, nigga, I'm against you. It was just, alright, yo, you on your shit. You know
you gotta understand, Pork didn't agree with nobody did.
Nah, but that's what I'm saying, and I was gonna say that.
Pork was his own nigga, like,
that's what I was gonna say.
Fucking with Pork, nigga, you ain't, you know, like,
the one thing about me and niggas that I think got along with niggas, most of the niggas.
We legendary though.
Nah, most of the niggas.
We legendary. Like my name was B Fussel, man. I was running around as B Fussel.
Nah, that was definitely B Fussel.
Yeah, like.
But fucking I always been like that, like the wild card. I'm doing whatever the fuck I want to do. So most of the niggas I'm cool with do whatever the fuck they want to do. Like I tell people that when people be like, yo, your friends know you move like that. Yeah, why? Because my friends move like that. Like everything I'm around, nigga, they do what the fuck they want.
At the end of the day, we do what we do.
You know what I'm saying?
We have shit in common.
That's why I always feel like
we might not get along.
Niggas,
we might not get along as individuals. It's like pit bulls and
right, that's all it is.
You don't have them type of dogs in the same kettle together. Like they need their own space, but they have the same common purpose. And at the end of the day, that's what I relate to when I think about my brothers. Like you asked me who helped start, like my man, you know, like Boo is central, like you know, like Chuck is central, like you had other dudes that was a part of our movement. Shout out and R.I.P. to my man Big Booby, Boo Boo, Austin Wilkinson. Like you had, like I came to Wayne Street before I came to see Run Blue. See, that's a jewel that a lot of dudes don't know about, and that's an integral part of the Magics because a few of us are from Wayne Street. 14 Wayne Street.
I remember a lot of niggas from the gate was like
circulate
from around.
So
like, Skylar.
There was a certain family on the corner of Seaver and Blue, and I'm gonna shout them out because they my people. You know, they took me in. I'm keeping it stat after Booby and them, and that's the one I want to acknowledge and give them his flowers. Like how I was brought to Seaver and Blue is that my mother, you know, through her trials and tribulations, was allowing me to do certain things at a very early age, such as go to the store and learn the ins and outs of the street life. And I met dudes that became my brother, which was one of them, Booby, and his brother. They took me in, and after I grew and got closer with other dudes that they introduced me to, which was a family of brothers named the Johnsons on the corner of Seaver and Blue. We formulated the Magics, and I used to live with the Johnsons, so shout out them. By way and by far, like I wasn't no like recruit. I wasn't no low nigga who was just. I met some friends in another situation who thought I was real enough to be introduced to their friends, and that's how we became family.
Wow.
So like you say what you did, like
me, I was a little shit. I was a little nigga like.
Well, you come from that era too.
That pull up.
When I met you, you told me you was like, yo, you know, I used to be on Cali.
Yeah, nigga used to pull up on the get out. I was getting ready to say
that. I've been in jail my whole fucking life, nigga. I ain't never seen half the niggas on Cali.
I remember when Tisha was a dog.
Nigga, I'm going to jail every 6 fucking weeks.
Tisha used to be on the gate like
shout out Tisha.
Kind of handling shit like real shit. Like, I tell niggas that like I'm from that. I'm from like the Mom Dixon.
That's the Castle Gate.
You know what I'm saying?
So
Mom Dixon, niggas pulling up, yo, let's go get some breakfast.
That's how I became.
Roaches running
that's how I became involved with Castlegate. Actually, hanging with and smoking weed with my sister and my brother Tawana, who were older than me, who showed us and introduced us to Castlegate when the other GH Magic niggas was in school. Because I was always looking for some other shit. Stealing cars, and that's all I was doing.
Well, shout out to the nigga Wax, nigga. I remember like niggas from the gate used to really be like, yo, you little niggas gotta get the fuck out of here. Like we used to come down there, nigga, the shit be cold in the hood, nigga. Like, yo, let's go to the gate. Right down to the gate.
Everybody used to come down that motherfucker, you heard?
I tell niggas that I think me growing up, that was like one of the dopest things, like on them bikes though. Niggas are more dope. So the two versions of all we had to know was
because I don't want these old niggas to say that we never addressed these two versions of the scat. See, I'm on point. I don't care how nice and good it is. You know, we get nice, but this shit's official. You know? We in contact. Back to Brandon, right? Big shout Brandon. This is where we at. We at
this shit stop, you already know.
Let's go. This is Thought You Were Marketing. Let's go. So there's two versions of scat. One being the older version before me, which is my stepbrothers and them, and their friends, which was, it originated as a money team. The first scat originated as a money team, and that was, from what I was told by one of the original founding members of scat, who is from the first letter of Scat G, which would be the S of St. Joseph's. Getting the history right now.
Getting the history, good. Keep running.
I don't know a Joe nigga, but I'm a Saints fan.
Yeah, St. Joe nigga.
Shout out Joe nigga, man.
Shout out to nigga K, man. You dig? Shout out to Wilson and probably having the best
shout out to Freak. That's the
fuck
only
is the
Joe
little nigga that used to always be with him, man?
Freak Fly, you know, that's the only Joe nigga I know.
R.I.P. my nigga B, man, just passed, man. Real shit, you already know what time it is.
So I'm really a Saints fan. Yeah, I'm a Saints fan, and I'm a Saints fan by way of I always was taught that it was fly to get money, and St. Joe niggas historically have gotten money.
Eddie.
Historically have gotten money and showed the city and set the tone to certain things. No shade to nobody else. No shade. No shade to nobody else. But we talking about scat and the historical part that St. Joe played in scat. Nothing other than that.
No bullshit.
So that being said, it was St. Joe, of course, Cascade. Like I said, we're a subdivision of Cascade, so as a Magic, I relate to everybody under that umbrella. You see how they have, what they got? What they got in Chicago? Hold on. What they got in Chicago now? They got what, like Only the Family? Well, that was our version of Only the Family.
R.I.P. Daddy.
So you had the C was for Cascade, the A was for Academies, the original T was for Tremont Smokers. R.I.P. Shout out to a lot of legendary dudes, Sweetie, Roy,
Shetty from the gate.
You know, the whole Wally movement,
know what it is.
Tremont Smokers, Brian McDonald, R.I.P. That's the first person that Brian McDonald, who was my friend. Matter of fact, Shiz Matthew. I'm touching history right now. I'm glad you're tuning in. Brian McDonald, who was my friend. This is the first time I ever ventured outside of Grove Hall. My father lived in Lenox, and I got an opportunity to live both sides of life. A street side, a side street side, and a project side. Shout out to my Lenox niggas, my Tremont niggas. So the T was for Tremont Smokers, and a brother by the name of Brian McDonald, R.I.P., brought me to that area. And I only thought it was safe because I used to see my oldest stepbrother and them niggas from around my way up at Derby Park playing ball. And when I used to see that, I used to run up the street and be like, yo, what y'all niggas is? Because he would always be fascinating to see your older niggas outside the hood. And I was one of the very few young niggas that traveled out this hood, but I only traveled by default because my father lived in the project. So that being said, when I used to do that, I learned that it was safe to be around Tremont niggas and Lenox niggas. Because they're part of the T, the original T. After that, the G comes from one of the original founding families of Franklin Hill. Now I'm gonna stop for a minute. I'm gonna stop for a minute. No, hold on, time out. I'm gonna stop for a minute. I'm gonna stop for a minute because I'm gonna get real. Shout out Dre Rock, you know. Free Rock, definitely. Free Rock.
Man, you already know that. Man.
Hey yo, man. Hey yo, shout. I don't know where this man's at, and you know, like I say nicknames now. Because you know, different people could be in different capacity in their life. But one of my friends, dear friends, well, a couple of my dear friends, shout out my man Buzz, and my man Trump.
Mike, you already know you were supposed to be here, man, helping record this shit.
R.I.P. Mike.
You know what I'm saying? That's his son, R.I.P. Mike. You already know.
R.I.P. Mike.
Shout out my nigga Spot.
Technically, Mike is part of my family, my background. I don't tell people that, but
Noodles, everybody, Killer.
You know, my peoples was involved with bro's sister at a point in time where she was holding bro down in a tight situation. And we'll speak on that later. Shout out bro, you know. Long story short, yeah. The G was for Franklin Hill. Some people, now I said I was going to start because we tell all, we open book and we create history. I gotta back up and reaffirm something that was up for debate at that time.
And they run through, what's the name, neither. Forgot about them. Shout out to everybody from the A, man.
Oh, you know that. We're gonna get to them. Because that was, hold on, that's a whole nother story. We're gonna get to that.
Shout out to
yeah, we're gonna get out. Shout out to the light side, because I'm a light side affiliate.
Love you, boy.
I'm a Feezy, shout out Feezy. Shout out OG Mike Barton.
Miz, love you with your lying ass.
Helicopters and all.
Helicopters, all type. We gotta get you up here, Miz.
Yeah, but
Miz, gotta get you up here.
Yeah, hold on, time out.
Yo, they love you,
So like the S, a lot. I said St. Joe's, and that's what I was taught.
No, that shit was always.
But hold on, time out. I have to give credits where credits is. R.I.P. my nigga Sean Dookie. A lot of people, depending on what side of Grove Hall you fell on Castlegate, considered or associated the S with the Hansborough Steelers. So hold on. He said, Hold on. Let me give niggas their flowers. We talking history and where I'm from. I can talk this shit because I was fucking there.
But I know Hansborough didn't keep that name down.
Hold on, yes they did.
That was quick.
Hold on.
I know niggas.
Hold on. We talking history. Now there's a Steeler.
Shout out Dubbin, man. Past
There's
Trent.
still, yo, my nigga, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? See you niggas, man. We just gotta share that love.
Hold on, I might be getting crazy.
Niggas, man. That's what I tell you.
I might be getting
all the
crazy.
niggas that show love to me, man.
I might be getting crazy.
You already know, man.
So I'm gonna say R.I.P. Sean Dookie, you heard, because he is a historical person from where at one point in time some of the dudes on different sides felt the S represented, which was Hansborough Steelers. That led us to being familiar or becoming familiar with another group of brothers that are known as the Magnolia Steelers, because little do people know the Magnolia Steelers, who are from Roxbury, and the Hansborough Steelers, who are from Dorchester, Mattapan, really. They had to settle that for a second, and some of us. Hold on, some of us was taught. Some of us, and I'm not throwing shade on anything that may have, because we talking about content and history. I'm not throwing shade on anything that may have taken place.
Can't be no shade. Just gotta keep it 100.
Some of us was taught to respect the fact that that's what it was.
No, I'm saying I respect because.
So now we get to my generation. Hold on, we get to my generation. 92, Mary J. We get to real love type shit. What's the 411? Yeah, what's the 411? Grand Pooba shit. When one of the Johnson brothers used to bring the radio outside on the corner of 304 and Seaver and Blue. So in my generation, we was taught to realize that the S, y'all not gonna understand this. IS.
That shit was for the Steelers.
Nah, bro.
Wow.
I'm about to fuck your whole head up. Free my nigga Ralph Brown. IS. Sorry that I even said that, but I'm older and time has passed. Whatever that means, fighting and going through. I have friends on both sides. But IS, the Magic's S, stood for the San Francisco 49ers, a group of niggas off of Target.
That's what I'm saying. Yo. Listen, right? I understand. See, this is where I go. No. Yo, listen, man.
Like I said, we was into creating our own identity. The Magics.
Only certain shit brings shit out of me. Not too much shit.
The Magics were into creating our own identity. So after the S.
Hansborough ain't keep no stealing shit. And nigga, no Nightingale wasn't no 49er shit.
Yeah, they went for it.
We took all that shit.
So IS was the 49ers. IC, of course, was us. IA was the Academy. And then shout out to my nigga RIP, my nigga Goody from the Timberwolves. Because our team was for Timberwolves. We didn't get. And the reason, hold on, no shade to the older niggas. The reason it's like that is because we wasn't getting no fucking money to be running under that umbrella. Their umbrella was a money crew. They was created, Scat G was originally created as a money crew. And I was told this by a founding member.
And shout out to Tang, because Tang was one of them.
Shout out shout out my man.
Shout out Cream.
Lamar Tillery. I was told this in a library where I did time at, where he said that was never no gang shit. Like niggas never was supposed to, it was designed.
No, I definitely could see that, but see, that's what I'm trying to tell you. Shit like that took a life of its own in the 90s. Like, Wise Guys wasn't all the shit that you had.
And that's
it took a life of its own.
Yeah,
a bunch of shit.
It's under the
just
umbrella.
Under people like, nigga, yo, that's my cousin.
Like,
we a part.
You
know what I'm saying?
So you have to understand, besides Grove Hall, the next mecca was Dudley.
Wow.
And where was St. Joe's and what was Tremont close to? What was Lennox close to?
Wow.
Dudley. What was OP?
No, that's 100.
So you had to understand, it was nothing but money down there. We was gang banging in Dorchester.
No.
We was gang banging.
Let's take a pause real quick. Go check it.